All right, y'all. So I'm actually working on my protein intake because I just turned 41 years old. Again, thank you everybody for the birthday wishes. But yeah, I'm 41 and I started working out again because I'm like, when you go on stage and then you see all the pictures afterwards, you really be like, oh shit, what the hell? So, I got 99 days. Like, I really got to get my life together. And I've been working on it. So after my workout, I have a phenomenal trainer, you guys. She's virtual. I'll give you guys the details in the comments. But after working out with her and this plan she's got me on, the way my knees are feeling, I'm like, oh, hell no. I need to get in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to get my protein up. I need to get my health together because, it don't get easier from here. So, but anyways, I wanted to talk to you guys about something because, the market, the S&P 500 hit a brand new high on Friday. This week we had a major rally. If you're inside of the Vol or even EYL University, you're not probably surprised by this because we talked about what was happening in the market. Just a few weeks ago, multiple indices started to break out, like IWM, which tracks small cap stocks, QQQ, tech stocks, the S&P 500. So buyers had shown us that they had stepped in, right? But it's literally been such an aggressive move that, it's amazing to watch. But I wanted to talk to y'all because I know that it's not easy to watch this run up, and a lot of people, especially retail investors, were probably shaken out with everything that the conflict with Iran and the fear. We're looking at gas right now at prices that, we probably in our generation, a lot of us haven't experienced or remember that gas prices being like this, right? So considering all of that, people probably were shaken. They're like, wait a minute, this volatility, this unexpectedness, what could happen? But guys, when you actually spent time in the market, and I'm talking about years, like you've been able to study price and seen how it's moved over years. I started investing, almost 5 years ago, and I've been through so many tumultuous circumstances. And what I've noticed is that after every single one of those events, the market has rebounded. Yes, the market pulled back. Something, COVID happened, the market pulled back. Oh, yes, the market pulled back. Russia, Ukraine, right? August 2024, we had another major pullback. I can't even remember what they titled it back then. But if you've noticed the trend is that every dip tends to get bought up. Buyers end up stepping back in. We end up making new highs. The reason a lot of retail investors get confused or don't know when to invest is because they don't understand the market and that it moves in ebbs and waves and flows, right? It doesn't just go in one straight line. You don't even stay in one straight line. My God, you're not always in the same mood. You know what I'm saying? The ocean doesn't go in one, it's ebb and flow, right? It's a combination of buyers and sellers. It's a combination of supply and demand, right? So sometimes the supply exceeds the demand or vice versa. But when you understand technical analysis, you understand that the market will signal to you which direction it's about to take. It's like understanding another language. It's almost like when you're trying to understand the market and you look at these candlesticks, right? And these candlesticks, they look so complicated. What does that candlestick mean? Those candlesticks are actually a part of the alphabet of the market. And I always recommend, if you're new here and you're just, getting introduced to me, I always recommend to new investors to get themselves a copy of the Candlestick Bible by Manisha Hama, because the Candlestick Bible tells you what are the most important candles that you'll see in the market and what they actually mean for the market. I know it can be, frustrating to learn all these new terms, but that's why things exist like the vault. Inside of the vault, we go live pre-market 5 days a week. We have a live review of what the market is doing. And that way, the education that you're learning on your own to understand those candlesticks, we actually apply it to the charts. We see signs of how buyers step in, what candlesticks showed up, what that hammer actually means at an area of support. Stephanie, what is support? All of that, we walk through it day by day by day. And let me tell you guys that the results, these people in the vault, no. This is different over here, okay? These people are locked in. I'm seeing people make gains. I saw somebody turn a portfolio of $1,000 into $7,000 by April, from January to April. And this is not something that, and I understand risk in the reward. And please, if you're an investor, please make sure that you're not just going straight into options, that you're investing into your long-term portfolio. Because when you know that the market is rigged to go up, the wealthiest people in the world are not, I don't see traders. I don't see that the wealthiest people in the world are traders. Matter of fact, the wealthiest people in the world are investors. So when we think about trading, I see very little traders that are actually rich, right? So, but I do see many investors that are incredibly wealthy. So when I think about investing, I first want to make sure that I have a long-term portfolio set up. But let me tell you, when it comes to options trading, baby, I'm not letting that go. That's my side hustle. My main hustle is, okay, I got my job where that draws in money and I invest it into my long-term portfolio. But I put a little bit of money in so I can play, with the options. Because if you think about it, a lot of people go out, and I was one of these people, right? I have a very entrepreneurial spirit. You can ask my husband. But a lot of people will go and say, oh, I want to learn how to invest and I'm going to be a real estate agent one week. And then the next week they're like, that didn't work. I built me a little bodega. I was cooking. I was making some empanadas, and I had people buying my empanadas and I was starting to see whether it was worth it or not to me to be making these damn empanadas that people, all my effort for a little bit of money. And, you learned through every little experience that you go through. A lot of people are ashamed of those experiences, but each of those experiences taught you something valuable that you take on to the next hustle, that you can even be better. I don't think that I would be able to be the trader that I am today if it hadn't been for all of those little pieces in between that helped me to kind of know myself, what kind of person I was, what are my challenges, did I procrastinate, was I inconsistent in things? Those things have helped me to be a more disciplined trader, a more disciplined entrepreneur. But the point of that is that as investors, when you think about all of these different side hustles that you could potentially do, that you have to go out there and do, I look at the market like that. I look at the market where it's like, wow, I have a plethora of companies, right, in front of me that are maybe offering me an opportunity. And if I can learn the skill set of reading the market and identifying when there's an opportunity in the market, I don't have to go all these different places, start all these different businesses. I can learn to invest into a company. I can purchase a contract for a company that I believe is going to return me an investment because I've done the analysis. I've been able to organize the data. I understand what the data is telling me. I understand if the data is telling me that there's an opportunity here, and then I identify the opportunity. But after I've identified the opportunity, I do what major companies do is they actually hire people to understand their risk so that they can mitigate their risk. So as options traders, we're on you're on your own. You're your own company. So once you've identified the opportunity, you better make sure that you're going back and identifying the risk. Okay. Because that's the part that most traders fail. They just think nothing is 100% in the market. I don't care how bullish engulfing that bullish harami is looking, whatever you want to call it. The truth is that nothing is 100% in the market. We go by probability. But when you've prepared and you've identified the risk, that's where you are able to turn an opportunity into real money. Because once you've identified the risk, the fear is not controlling your every decision. You've done the job. You've analyzed the stock. You understand the technical analysis. You understand where support is at. You understand historically where that price has dropped to in the past and where you might need to cut your risk if price starts to drop lower than that. You know how we understand all of that? Simply by learning how to read a chart. So if you're interested in learning how to really read technical analysis and read the market, I definitely recommend that you start compounding that learning. Come into the opening bell. It's $45 a month. $45 a month, 5 days a week. You have a pre-market review. In there, you're able to see, we identify the candlesticks. We go through, we identify stock resistance, support for all of these different stocks. Not just what I'm looking at, what you guys are looking at, because the reality is that the vault is built off of stocks that members are looking at and they bring into the vault and we consider them together. We come to the table and we look and we set the risk and reward on the table. That way, before we have entered a trade, we already know what directions and how to prepare for each direction that the stock may take. So if you're willing and you want to take a look, click in my bio. There's a link in my bio that will give you a 7-day free trial. Not only is it $45 a month, you're probably paying more for that in just subscriptions to Netflix, Hulu, ESPN, because you got to watch MMA. It's the only one. I can only watch it on the damn, I think it's like CBS app or whatever the hell. Listen, you're wasting your money, okay? You're making everybody else rich but yourself. Getting into the opening bell is helping make you rich, helping you learn a skill set that can literally benefit you for the rest of your life. So if you're interested, if you have any questions, DM me. But guys, don't DM me. Click on the link, get in the vault. It's 7 days free. Find out for yourself what it's about. I take a long time to answer my DMs. So thank y'all for being here and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.